everybody, it's me, Jackie, and I'm back again with another interview with Jennifer. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on, and sorry about the trouble we had getting on. I'm just going to let you introduce yourself and go ahead and share your story with us if you would.
Yes, thank you for inviting me. I did a TikTok. I've been kind of brave and playing around with TikTok, and I know you saw one of my TikToks, and I was very appreciative that you chose me to be on your podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to have you here. I think everybody has a story to share. And even, I've talked to so many that don't think their story's worth hearing or anything. But I said, I think everybody's story should be shared. Everybody's Alpha One journey should be shared. So I'm happy to have you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I live in Brunswick County, North Carolina. It's a coastal community. I was born and raised here. I spent some time in Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada. I went to school out there and lived out there for almost 10 years. I've been back home about 20 years now. So I was diagnosed in 2018 by my allergist, Dr. Myers. He's with Allergy Partners. And at the time, I was living a very full and fast life. I was in graduate school, working two jobs. I was also grieving and really recovering from my role as a caregiver for my father. He had passed away, but I was constantly on the move until I couldn't be. So I started noticing that I couldn't walk 25 steps without being out of breath. So the fatigue and shortness of breath became very overwhelming. I knew something wasn't right. And then I was the kind of tired that naps couldn't fix. Yeah, and it was just like deep bone level exhaustion. And so I just started going to different physicians. And of course, during that time, I was gaining weight as well. And so doctors just assumed that that was the cause. And so I found myself sitting in a bariatric clinic when my allergist called me and told me the results. He said that I was a ZZ, and I didn't even know what that meant.
Right.
But I could tell that he was concerned, and I could tell by his voice that it was serious. And I remember walking out of that bariatric clinic just thinking this isn't going to be my journey. This is definitely not something that they would even approve me for at the time as far as surgery. So I called my family on the way home. I called my sister. I have one sister. She's 14 months younger. And I'm married for 20 years. And I have two nieces. And, my father had passed away. But she went and got tested and she's a ZZ. And I didn't
Wow.
realize the small, there was a small percentage for two siblings.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. That's very small chance that happens very rarely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're both ZZs and my nieces are MZs. And my sister's always had trouble with asthma. And me not so much, but she was already, doing the inhalers and wearing masks and just really taking a lot of protective measures that I wasn't. So I do what most of us do. I Googled Alpha One. That was how I started. And then that search led me to Dr. Strange at MUSC in Charleston, South Carolina. And so I reached out to the coordinator at that time, which was Mr. Marvin. I think his last name is Saneeth, if I might be butchering it.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so and Dr. Strange was the guest speaker at this support group. And so me and my sister, we packed up with our husbands and we went down there. And after the support group was over, I introduced myself to Dr. Strange and I
What a
just walked
great
up.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't
No,
mean
I
to
was
interrupt, but what a great time to go when he's the guest speaker. What a great time to go. Yeah.
And I literally walked up to him and I introduced myself and I said, I'm your new patient.
Good for you.
I
Yeah.
didn't give him a way out. I just said, and my sister, I said, and my sister, like, we're now your new patients.
He's a really great doctor. I'm sure you've learned that by now.
Yes, well, that moment changed everything for me because he helped me get started on Prolastin C. He connected me with a local pulmonologist, the Alpha One Foundation, and Alpha Net. And so for the first time, I felt like there was a direction and hope. Like at least I knew what was going on. I don't think I still understood, and I still don't understand exactly what that meant at the time. So got on Prolastin C. I got on a bunch of inhalers, medication, and I really started to feel better. I felt like I started just living again and life was improving. And then guess what happened?
Oh,
2020.
oh yes.
COVID hit. So I no more got diagnosed and started getting on a plan, a treatment plan, and then COVID hit and it hit me hard. It was the September 2020. It was the first strain when no one really knew what was going on. There was a lot of panic, a lot of stories out. Some people didn't believe that it was really truth. And then my husband got it first from some folks from our church went to a men's retreat and they brought it back with them. And so I was taking care of my husband, thinking that I was isolating from him. And then all of a sudden, I just started getting extremely fatigued and not thinking correctly. And my sister was like, "If you don't call," she was on the phone. "If you don't call 911, I am." And I'm glad that I got to the emergency room when I did. I was in the hospital for about 13 to 14 days. And the only reason why they discharged me is because the hospitals were full and the respiratory therapist thought I had a better chance surviving out of the hospital. Once I started, my stats started coming back up because at one point it was touch and go. They were talking to my family about putting me on a ventilator.
Gosh.
It was so difficult. I think back to those times and I know I have PTSD from that.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine. I'm so glad that they didn't. I mean, sorry to interrupt, but I mean, I've heard so many stories now and new things that that was kind of the thing that was almost killing people because it was the wrong thing to do, was putting them on that. I mean, I don't know. This is just some of the articles that I've read lately, about it. So, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm so
Well, they
glad.
were 3 units. Like I guess it was there was a certain type of oxygen, and I hate that I can't remember what it was. But I was on a different level right before intubation, and I guess I was 57 units, needing 57 units. But I just remember being so tired and people being so scared, and I just remember people dressing down. Everyone looked like aliens coming into your room with the full like mask and oxygen and like yeah, it was just for the first time I had someone getting on to me about not eating. Like you gotta keep up your, you gotta keep it up, you gotta keep your energy up. But when you are oxygen dependent and you can't even move and turn over on your side without not being able to catch your breath or breathe, you don't feel like eating. You could barely take a breath. It takes all the energy just to take a breath. So I mean, I was going through that, but then there was a turnaround at that time. And so I always get emotional because
No, go ahead. It's
my
fine.
family and friends, they all put Bible verses all over these poster boards. And I had a friend that worked at the hospital, and so she decorated my room with so much love and encouragement and people. One of the nurses helped me get to the window. This was before I got put in ICU. And they were all downstairs holding those poster boards and praying for me over the phone. And I know I felt the Holy Spirit. I felt God in the room with me. And throughout the whole journey, I felt him with me, and I wasn't afraid. I was just tired. So whenever I got home, I couldn't walk. I was oxygen dependent. I'm still oxygen dependent even 5 years now. I'm a lot better than I was, but I still require oxygen. If I walk a long distance, if I'm lift anything over a couple of pounds and walk with it, I desat pretty fast. But I lost all my hair. Imagine that, as thick as it's come back. I was wearing wigs, and it really I walked out of that experience with an understanding of how important family, friends, aides are. When you can no longer bathe yourself, dress yourself, just brain fog, just how and being in the hospital wasn't perfect, but I think about those brave medical workers leaving their families and coming in there not knowing what this virus was going to do, taking
Right.
care of me.
I can't imagine. I used to be a CNA. I was the CNA for over 23 years, and I thought about during COVID, I thought, would I be able to do that? I hope I would be able to, leave my family and go take care of people when you don't know, what the outcome may be or if you might get it or, if you might bring it home to your family. I can't even imagine. So I can't imagine, nowadays working with that. And I just, yeah, I just can't even imagine.
And they became my family because, then they wouldn't let family come in the hospital. And they were just the sweetest souls. And then whenever I got to where I could actually talk some, and communicate as I started getting better, I heard their stories. One nurse had to actually rent a house because her daughter was compromised, and so just for her to work and take care of me, she had to be separated from her family, paying a whole nother rent, and so whenever I got out of the hospital, I shared my story with my friend that worked there. And so a group of folks from Novant called me, and I shared my story and helped them raise funds for their healthcare workers who were put out of their homes, or, having to pay a separate mortgage, or, the out of pocket expense to work. And so we started a fund through that, which was a blessing that they allowed me to share my experience.
That's nice. Thank you for doing that. That's so nice.
Yeah, so I came out of there. I work in an agency, a nonprofit, helping older adults. And so with our in-home aid program, that was the first thing I did. I was like, we got to get their rates up.
Yes,
These
exactly.
people need to be paid. They are heroes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so
I'm so glad that you had such a great experience with CNAs because not a lot of people do, and it's sad when they don't. But I'm so glad that you had that great
well,
experience with
not
them.
all of
That's
them.
great.
Not all of them were great because, but I showed grace because, like, I heard one CNA at the door arguing with their charge nurse because she didn't want to come in to change me. But I get it. Like they were scared. She was young. I didn't hold it against them or the experience. Because overall I was cared for. I came out of there alive. I came out of there grateful. I looked past any of the fear that, and I get it. I looked past all that because I was scared, like I was watching, I was, on when I could scroll on Facebook, even some of my friends, like some people didn't even believe that COVID, they thought it was like some false virus. And I'm over there fighting for my life.
I know it's so sad, and I had, and like I would wear masks, or I didn't go anywhere for months, and I've had, I can't tell you how many Alpha friends of mine who passed away, and I still had friends saying it was so fake, and I'm like, if you could see my friends who are,
Right. And then, even in our Alpha One Facebook group, the amount of people we lost, my sister started so many prayer chains, and, she did a prayer chain for me in our sister group on Facebook. And some of those beautiful souls that were praying for me, some of them didn't make it. And my first coordinator, my Alpha Net coordinator, from what I'm understanding, I don't know exactly how she passed, but she passed around in that same time.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a very emotional experience, and
Are
it's
you in?
hard.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, 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 you go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say you mentioned Alpha Sisters. Are you in the Alpha Sisters or Alpha One Sisters?
I think it's Alpha One Sisters.
Okay, all right. Because there is two groups. I didn't know because I thought, oh, I don't remember hearing your name, but I might have because I'm the administrator of the Alpha Sisters. One of the administrators of the Alpha Sisters. That's why.
Yes, I see you in the group all the time.
I'm glad that you're there.
First, when I saw your name come across on Messenger, I recognized it from the Facebook group, and then I put two and two together. But there's so many on there.
There is.
I could see how y'all do a great job, and I love that. That was one of my first Facebook groups. Me trying
Oh,
to
good.
educate myself with Google, and I learned so much through that Facebook group.
Good. Thank you. I'm glad that you have. I'm trying to think how many years now that, at least 15 years that we've had that group.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Because I was diagnosed 15 years ago. And when I was first diagnosed, that group used to be Alpha Friends, and there was a few other administrators. And there was something that happened in there, and then it just kind of broke up, and then it broke up off into, and we didn't want to lose everybody that was in that group that we knew and that we were friends with. And so it became Alpha Sisters. But I think everybody ended up coming back there anyway, that had left anyway. So, but yeah, it's 15 years now. So yeah, I'm glad that you're there and learned.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's some beautiful souls in there that we've lost, even just this last year. That, I mean, to me, they may. I think it's just knowing you're not alone. It's hard to explain sometimes how difficult it could be, but just knowing that there's other sisters out there that struggle too, or can offer advice, or It just we can lift each other up or pray for each other is very important.
Yes, yeah, it sure is.
And through this whole experience, I've actually grown. My husband has been such a rock for me. And just the way he cared for me whenever they wanted me to go ahead and come home. If the circumstances had been different, I wouldn't have come home when I did.
That's
But
wonderful.
he's been great. I'm still with Dr. Strange. I've done a couple of research for him. I'm not brave enough to do the medicine research
I understand.
projects yet, but anything that doesn't require for me to take medicine, I'll do it all day long.
Yeah. Right, I understand. Yeah. Well, thank you
So
for doing those too. Yeah.
I'm in a 3-year study.
Good. Is that the biomarker study?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in that too, but I've my part's come to end now because of funding, so I don't know if I'll be able. I'm supposed to go back anytime between June and October, but um, I'm not able to go back right now. So we'll see if it gets back, and it might just be. I think it's just the university where I'm at in Alabama, of where I'm doing the study. It might just be there, so I'm doing that one as well. Yeah, and I've done some other ones, but that one's on hold. So we'll see how
Well,
that goes.
I have not even asked, but I know that there was something happening not too long ago. I just didn't know what it was.
I think it's the funding that's trickled up the line that's changed. I don't know. They're waiting to hear more. I can't exactly tell you what, but I know. I think it is funding that we used to get that we're not getting, or I shouldn't say we, but I mean it is for alphas. I don't know if it's just that university or all of that whole study.
Yeah, because I don't know what I would do. I mean, Doctor Strange, like I try so hard to my care team, he kind of oversees it, and he was involved even in for everything that was going on. My family was reaching out, should she do this or should she do that? And I think the one medicine we were most concerned about was the remdesivir. I'm so bad, I butcher names, and I
I think
used
I
to
know what you're
teach
talking about.
pharmacology, and I will kill the name.
I'm terrible. I always, in my mind, like, I make up these little words to, like, I forget what the medicine is now that a lot of people are taking, and it's OV something. And I always say over there when I talk to my doctor about it. I'm like, that medicine over there. He laughs
Right?
at me. He's like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, I will butcher it, but that was that I could feel that was like coals, hot coals going through your blood. I don't even know.
Really?
That was tough. And now they're saying that that's not even a recommended treatment.
Goodness. Wow. I can't imagine. I did get COVID, but thank goodness that I wasn't bad. Mine was more of the stomach, you know, thank goodness problems than anything. And my husband was more respiratory, which weird, because his was more respiratory and mine was more stomach and, all that.
That's a blessing.
I still was, had some problems, but not as bad. I mean, I felt it wasn't worse than the flu for me. I think the flu is worse for me. And I'm thankful that I had that experience and not have the other people, but I feel bad for you and others that have had um, more,
Well,
terrible.
I mean, I come out of it with a new perspective. My priorities, I put my priorities back in check. I've always been career driven, and I'm coming to terms that it's time for me to kind of get my head out of the sand. Alpha One's not going away. This is something
Right.
that I need to put more time into education, and I need to be more involved in the AlphaNet network. And I want to go to my first conference in 2026. I hate I missed 2025, but I want to go.
That'd be nice on the West Coast. I think
Is it going to be on the West Coast?
it's going to be on the West Coast. Yeah. There's a big area around the map, and it shows kind of like the San Diego area, but it's a big circle, so it's hard. But it's just I'm guessing either California or Nevada. That's just my guess.
Then I had to wait till 2026 because when I went back to Nevada 2 years ago, I did not do well with my oxygen levels there.
Yeah, but the heatness, or was it? I don't even know. Is the elevation in Nevada high? I don't know.
Oh
Is it?
yes. Well, if you're in the valley, I did okay. But whenever I went to an area where we were doing research and the elevation was higher, yeah, it felt like I was trying to breathe through bricks.
Yeah, yeah. I think it might be San Diego. We're all hoping that I've talked to, hoping for San Diego, but they're waiting to hear. a little bit more before they announce where it is now.
Now, would you fly? Now, the first time I flew with oxygen, that was challenging.
It is challenging, and I've flown for 14 years now. I'm a support group leader, so I've gone to all the conferences, and I do fly, and it is challenging, but I'd rather drive if I could because it's such a big kind of hassle, but I still want to go and still want to see, it's like a big family reunion there every year, and, I still want to do it. So as long as I can still do it, I'm going to do it.
So you've been a support group leader for 15 years?
Actually, I've been a support group leader for 13 years.
13?
But the first year, the first year we drove, I met my best friend who's an alpha, and we formed a support group together. But the first one we went, we got scholarships for the first one that we went to, and it was just a 6 hour drive, so we just drove to that. But after that, we became support group leaders and flew ever since that, everywhere we go on. Well, we have driven to a couple that were close, but if they were far, we've driven. Yeah,
Well, that's awesome.
we
Yeah,
love
so
it.
right now I'm still working. I ended up getting my doctorate soon after. That was always a bucket list. So it kind of, you come near death, you kind of start knocking things off your bucket list.
Right. Yeah, sure.
So I did do that. But I mean, it is hard having a chronic illness and working full time because you never
Yes,
know when you're going to have an exacerbation, like, or when you're
that's
not
right.
going to feel well, or
Yeah. I quit working in 2011. I was diagnosed in 2010 and quit working in 2011. I just couldn't do it anymore. But I didn't have insurance or anything, and I needed that insurance, and I needed that Medicare. And I probably could have, just because of the people I worked with that were so great and would cover for me if I needed to, or, they made everything easier for me. And I loved working and I miss working, but I just couldn't I just couldn't do it on my own. It was hard. It was hard working. Yeah, I applied for disability in 2011. I didn't get it until 4 years later. I was denied. I was on oxygen, 36% lung function, and denied benefits for 4 years.
30, you were in the 30%.
Yeah,
So, yeah. So when I was diagnosed, I was at 52%. And that, whew,
yeah. And it's supposed to be, I don't know if they've changed things, but when I started, it said, of course, they go by other things too, but they said 40%, was supposed to be accepted for, disability. I don't know. I finally had, of course, get a lawyer, and as soon as I got the lawyer, it was fine. But I think they think that people just give up. I feel so sorry for everybody that are still working and trying to work and being around people and worried about getting sick, and all that. You know, I feel for them.
well, I'm very blessed. I've been in the same job for 20 years now, and I work with such a great group of people that cheered me on, supported me, and I have with the prolactin and the inhalers. I mean, my lung function has improved, but at the same time, though, it's always, you never know with the next cold, the next flu, the next virus.
Right.
So I just keep plugging on, and just, well, I can't lie to you, and tell you that, Jackie, that my head's not in the sand, but I need to pull my head out of the sand. I'm like the definition of denial. That's my journey. The definition of denial. This is the face. I'm good. I'm fine. But I think the saddest part about this for me is just for everyone else, like you said, the struggles and how much it costs to get the medicine and to get the inhalers. I mean, I'm heading to Walgreens after this, and the cost of Trilogy. I mean, it blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. It's terrible, and the hoops that you have to jump through to get some of the medications that you need.
And I'm going through that right now. It's an annual thing every year with Prolastin.
Yeah.
But I mean, pretty much I guess that would be my overall story. Found out I had alpha 1, almost died. I'm back, and I have my hair back,
Yay! I'm
and I'm
glad.
in denial.
I'm in denial. I was losing my hair, but that was for meds I was on. But it's slowly coming back. But I'm still really thin. But I used to have thick hair like yours as well. But I thank you for your story. I can't believe. I'm so happy that the allergist that you went to, diagnosed you. So many times it takes so many doctors, until we get a diagnosis. So I'm thankful for that for you, and I'm sorry that you went through COVID and what you had to go through. But glad that you're here to speak with me today and help spread awareness and share with other people who don't understand, a lot about Alpha One, and teach them more. And like I said, just keep spreading that awareness. If you think there's any great tips that you have for anybody, or some great advice for anybody that's just now being diagnosed with Alpha One, if you have something.
think I think for me, the I would say the advice was to show up for yourself and fight for yourself. That sometimes you're going to get no's, but don't accept that. Mentally look at that as a not now, because in the world of healthcare, and it's sad because we don't feel good. Um, and sometimes we don't have energy, but we have to fight to make for sure we find the right doctors. We are able to figure out a way through foundations or somewhere to pay for the medications that we can't afford, that help us, that improve our quality of life, that we are worth it. Also, to get your head out the sand, right? So, like for me, I mean, it's time for me to put more time and energy into myself and learning more about Alpha One and helping others. I do that as a volunteer. I've done that with substance use disorders, and I'm a leader at Celebrate Recovery. But I would just say that we're worth it, and that we're worth fighting for.
That's right, we sure are.
And then maybe through advocacy, maybe we could help, or, joining together to try to help get the cost of the medications down or make it more accessible for everyone. I know the foundation and Alpha One, they do such a great job with that. And without them, whenever I first started, I would have felt alone, or would have lost hope.
Right, they
I
do
would
so
say
much.
just keep pushing.
Right, exactly. Well, thank you so much. I want to thank you also for doing your TikTok and getting, spreading awareness out there. I don't know if you want to tell everybody what your name is on TikTok, or I'm trying to think, or if they can, or maybe when after this video gets posted, we can put that in the comments, or I can put that in the link to your TikTok stories.
Yes, and I
You know,
probably should do more, because with the gym, a little bit is everything. I used to beat myself up, but like Dr. Strange told me, the bicycle is so good
it is.
for us.
I used to ride 10 miles a day on the exercise bike that I had in
Look
house.
at you.
In house. But I don't have the room anymore, and now I just have a peddler, so I use it for my feet and my arms. It's funny that using the bottom half of your body doesn't make you as worn out. I mean, walking does, but doing the bike, I don't get as breathless as doing other exercises and other things. So I think that was really helpful for me.
And I have to admit, Jackie, I don't even know what my name is. So I think is it Dr. Jen or Dr. Hope Jen, or we'll have to put it in the
I don't.
comments.
Yeah, we'll put it in the comments after we get the story shared. So, well, thank you so much. It was so nice
Yes.
meeting you, Jennifer. You seem like such a joy. You
I
seem like you're
try.
such a great friend to everybody. So, well, take care, everybody, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah.